Hello everyone, my name is Kyle Ahern, Product Manager here at Ascom. I'm here with HT Snowday for Ascom Ask the Experts. HT?
Hi, I'm HT Snowday. I'm Senior Director of Midmark RTLS, and Midmark RTLS is a leading real-time locating solution for healthcare. We serve healthcare environments across the clinical spectrum.
Excellent. And today we're going to be diving into the integrations and the general challenges that some customers may face and really highlight the intricacies behind Midmark's product line and how they ease the integrations and really provide an innovative product to the marketplace today. So HT, as far as the current state of the union as far as the RTLS integrations, and what are the general use cases that a healthcare facility today is utilizing the Midmark RTLS product?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the space is undergoing some amount of change. I mean, traditionally, RTLS has been used for prototypical applications like asset tracking, right? Mm-hmm. Keeping track of where your assets are, managing your fleet, perhaps even using it to optimize the way you position assets in healthcare. Mm-hmm. And then certainly nurse call automation, mm-hmm. which is a method to provide basic automation for the process of closing and managing nurse call events or patient call events mm-hmm. in the healthcare environment. But what we're really seeing now is a shift to much more of a clinical platform in healthcare, right? And there are some important use cases that come from looking at it that way. Mm-hmm. For example, staff safety. I mean, that's one that's coming on very, very strong, right? The ability for staff to very easily press a button on their badge and notify the right people at the right time that they need assistance in a scenario.
Yeah, as far as staff duress and making sure that right message is getting to the right person at the right time, what overall challenges do you see a healthcare facility running into when adopting the product and rollout?
When you're looking at an RTLS provider, you really want to come at it from the position of a fully realized clinical platform, right? Mm-hmm. So that means that you're not identifying a point solution,
sure,
but rather looking at it from the entire clinical perspective. So that will mean, like, one of the challenges is making sure that you have great work between your clinical leadership and your IT leadership, right? This is a technology solution, mm-hmm. and we have a lot of technology solutions happening as point solutions in healthcare.
Sure.
What you really want to do is make sure you're serving the clinical needs, and you're looking at a platform like our CareFlow platform that can be broadly integrated into the healthcare environment.
Talking to healthcare facilities, right, throughout the region and globe at this point, all of the customers are looking to shrink technology stacks, right? How is Midmark attacking that, right? Really minimizing the tech stack, but providing a robust feature set of technology.
Yeah, that's a great question. And one of my favorite things about RTLS, and has always been, is we're one of the few technologies that will actually buy back time, right? Mm-hmm. What our goal is to automate things for caregivers and improve both operational elements and retrospective analysis elements mm-hmm. in the healthcare environment, right? We want to give time back,
right?
And so we have worked very hard to make sure that we're a deeply integrated and highly integrated system within mm-hmm. healthcare. And this is a real problem. Most healthcare systems have somewhere between 50 and 150 technology systems mm-hmm. in their facilities. And what happens is caregivers end up being effectively human middleware, right?
Right.
Like copying and pasting stuff from one system to another. So when we go into environments, it's really our goal to look for where can we provide automation that mm-hmm. eliminates manual entry and manual steps for the caregiver. And RTLS is a really powerful tool for doing that.
So as we're talking integrations here, right, we're always looking for the right location data to the right integration. Can you speak to just the overall right location data and why IR is, I would say, superior to many?
We're really excited, to be honest with you, about hybrid systems and mm-hmm. other locating technology in healthcare, because different location technology comes with different capabilities and different benefits. Right. For example, we're investing heavily in Bluetooth Low Energy or BLE-based locating technology. Right. But our approach is fundamentally focused on making sure that it works within a hybrid environment for the reasons you mm-hmm. just called out. And that being, while BLE as a technology and its ubiquity is great for doing very cost-effective, very value-positive implementations house-wide that work great for asset tracking and even things like staff duress, there are clinically focused applications that require a higher level of reliability with the locating data, and that's where IR comes into play. So when you're doing an integration with a nurse call system, it's very important that you're completely accurate when you're canceling a call, right? I like to say you can never cancel the call next door.
In terms of the analytics of this, right? So obviously, CareFlow brings a, great state of innovation to that product line and really enhances, the actual optics and, quantitative data that improves care delivery. What is a nurse manager going to be looking at, right, in terms of automation?
There are various use cases that impact the way you collect data for analytics. But let's take one of the more sophisticated ones, like clinical workflow automation. And in that case, what you're doing is not only collecting information about the location itself, but workflow elements like the time between the patient entering the clinic and first seeing a caregiver, the time the patient was alone in the environment, the time between perhaps medical assistant interaction and provider-physician interaction. These are workflow metrics that you can then use in our analytics platform to both understand operationally how you're performing and also to do analytics based on changes that you make in the environment. When we are looking at the modern implementation of analytics as well, it's really important to consider integrations, right? So, for example, we have a very powerful relationship with Epic, so integrations with the EMR and the actual clinical record, as well as the location data, really enhances the ability to look at data from different perspectives.
As far as the optimization is concerned, can you speak towards the intricacies as far as that optimization and what the either the badge or the CareFlow software on the back end really optimizes that that clinical workflow day in and day out task?
Yeah, I mean, it really is all kinds of tasks for the caregivers that they would normally have to do manually. We look for things that we can do automatically. And here's a really simple prototypical example in nurse call, right? So if a patient initiates a call, that call must be canceled from a clinical process standpoint and to manage the time that it took to respond. Wearing our badge simply means that the nurse only has to enter the room where the call was initiated in order to make that cancellation happen. And I know that seems like a very simple bit of automation, but it adds up dramatically over time, drives satisfaction on the caregiver level, and also makes the patient safer. We have a great statistic in staff safety as well. We have a New Jersey facility that implemented our staff duress system house-wide, and they were facing a real challenge. And one of the things that it impacted that was somewhat unexpected was a dramatic reduction in lost time, meaning nursing time off or clinical caregiver time off, was dramatically reduced because of the staff duress system. Something like 93% reduction in time off, when you look at it holistically, really can drive down the metrics that are putting pressure on staff shortages and staff needs in healthcare.
What metrics should nursing management and leadership of a customer be looking at to really deem that the implementation of the integration of Midmark to Ascom, Ascom to Midmark is a success?
Let me index a few categories in general in healthcare. I think the place I'd start, particularly related to integration with Ascom, is clinical-based workflow. In this case, you're working to automate the environment that clinicians are working within, what happens is metrics spin off from that. Staff satisfaction scores should be going up relative to an integration and environment like that. Patient satisfaction scores should be going up. HCAHPS scores should be improving. And then you can measure more operational tactical things like how many clicks or how much time am I spending to execute a particular task. Staff duress, we talked about it before, days lost to adverse work events, staff satisfaction in general. And, you know, while if you're tracking staff duress, one of the outcomes is generally you find you're documenting more duress events, but the severity of those events should be decreasing because your ability to respond to them is going up.
We all know change is met by headwinds of adoption. How would a leader, a nurse manager, for example, approach their staff, right? What message would we provide nursing leadership to ease the adoption, or rather the removal of that whole notion of big brother, they're tracking me?
At a surface level, big brother is a concern. And I'd say at first, just make sure you don't do that. There should be nothing punitive about the implementation of any kind of system like this. And frankly, it doesn't work anyway. There's an inherent voluntary aspect to the way these systems work. And so you have to have participation in the system for it to work. The way you drive participation, though, is to really focus on the benefit that's happening to the individual, right? You're taking work away from the individual. And that's, most technology systems don't do that. Most technology systems require some level of interaction. RTLS is a unique system in that if you're doing it right, you're taking things away. You're giving back time to the caregiver and really focusing on that as the goal, and the measured goal for the environment is a great way to get the entire body of staff engaged.
We're going through a process of a true partnership, going into an enterprise platform. How do you see that transformation, you know, really translating towards enterprise solutions at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I want to first, you know, reinforce the relationship that we've had with Ascom. Really the innovation, the transparency and integration, the richness of the integration that we do and the automation that we do. I'm really excited about where we're going right now, because the way we're approaching our solutions is really from that enterprise perspective. So what we're doing is translating the very rich clinical granular data we've always had to operating within existing healthcare infrastructure, like the broad-based Wi-Fi systems and fundamental infrastructure in healthcare, to make it even easier and even quicker and higher value to implement highly granular solutions within the environments you need them. Incorporating that, though, into the enterprise environment.
As we move forward, right, and you know, the outlook, if you will, to the future, right, where do you see the general technologies of Midmark and its integrations and portfolio integrating to vendors such as myself, right, into Ascom's, you know, leading edge of technology, and you guys are a leader in, you know, spearheading innovations within the RTLS world. In 2 to 3 years, where do you see that platform and the integrations?
There's a couple trends that I think are really important going into the future, and one of them we just hit on, which really is hybrid locating technology, right? Because you want to make sure that you provide the best value and the best coverage possible while targeting specific solutions for clinical grade data, which would include places like patient workflow or nurse call cancellation. So we're very much focused on hybrid technology incorporating Bluetooth Low Energy as well as our IR technology, and making that as simple and as value forward to implement in healthcare as possible. So we think hybrid really is the future. There's a couple other really interesting trends too. Of course, you have to include AI. The place we see AI really playing an important role in RTLS going forward, as I like to put it, is really democratizing the advanced analytics. So what we're focused on is preparing our data, both from an integration perspective, so that we can make sure that our data can be integrated with other value data in the environment, like the EMR, like an alarm management system, like a nurse call system. I really believe the future is in the ability for AI to serve as a partner to ask questions about the performance in your clinical environment and
Sure.
help you create analytics that drive positive change in the environment.
Well, HD, thank you for joining us today with Ascom Ask the Experts. Really appreciate the intricate knowledge that you've provided, certainly myself and the rest of, the viewership here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The philosophical and technology alignment that we have has been something that we're very proud of at Midmark, and appreciate it.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Kyle. It's been a pleasure.
Excellent. Thank you.